To me personally, and I think most Sabahans or Sarawakians for that matter would probably agree, all right? I believe that politics of race and religion should not and must not and should never be the order of the day, all right? For non-Muslims for that matter, all right? We're not bothered whether you're a Malay, or whether you are a Chinese, or whether you're an Indian, or whether you're a Kerajaan, or whether you're an Iban, or whether you are a Bidayu, all right? The issue is not on race. I think the issue should be the human race.
Yeah.
All right? No one in his right frame of mind, okay, wants to be courting, right, any form of religious hostility or racial hostility, all right? And because in Sabah and Sarawak, the people of Sabah and Sarawak have become so welcoming, all right, to anyone from Peninsular Malaysia over there, irrespective of your race or irrespective of your religion, okay? The aspect of mixed marriages, for that matter, in Sabah and Sarawak is so wide, all right? You can go into a house, all right, that celebrates Hari Raya, okay? The man of the house, all right, is a Muslim. He celebrates Hari Raya, okay? And months down the road, all right, his wife, who happens to be a Christian but has converted, all right, as a Muslim, all right, they also celebrate Christmas. This is the uniqueness of Sabah and Sarawak, all right? So I would think, all right, and I'm quite certain, as I said earlier, right, that Sabahans and Sarawak will totally agree with me. We do not welcome any form of racial or religious politics.
Right? But the idea of turning Islam into the official religion, what do you think will be the...
You see, I think, you know, whether one is a Muslim or one is a Christian, okay, now, as a whole, all right, Sabah and Sarawakians have basically accepted the fact that Malaysia is, majority of Malaysians basically is Islam, Muslims, okay? That's something undeniable, all right? No one can, you know, come up and say that, you know, show me facts and figures that, you know, Malaysia is actually dominated by Malays, right? Because it is a clear fact.
It's a clear fact.
Yeah, so that's undisputable, all right? But I think it is also important, all right, the cordial relationship, all right, between Malays as well as the Chinese or Kadazans and the Dayaks basically must forever in time be totally instilled.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. It is the only unfortunate thing, all right, malang niya lah. You know, you have some politicians basically who believes that picking up issues on race and religion basically makes them stronger in gaining support.
Yeah.
Right? And quite honestly, such politicians should be totally denounced, irrespective of whether it's coming from Pakatan Harapan or whether it's coming from Barisan Nasional. Yeah. All right? And that is the uniqueness that we enjoy in Sabah and Sarawak. Yeah. Okay. Having said that, okay, now Sabah basically is also blessed, all right, with a huge percentage of different ethnic groups over there, all right, the natives. Okay, you look at the Kadazans, basically the natives over there, you have, what, if I'm not wrong in my figures, but 38 different ethnic groups in Sabah, all right? These are the natives, okay? Then you have, of course, you know, the Bajaus, the Iranuns, and so forth, okay? So the harmonious time that is being spent by them, all right, has become so strong, all right, that they feel, why should we court problems? You know, which is not happening here in Peninsular Malaysia, as I can see. All right. I have been in KL on many occasions in the past when I was with PKL before. All right. And sometimes it's shocking to see the kind of disagreements, right, when they make comparison, bandingan dengan Semenanjung Malaysia dengan Sabah dan Sarawak. Padahal, all right, we live in a country which actually has got three components: Malaya, Sabah, and Sarawak. That has been the focal point on the formation of Malaysia.
Speaking of formation of Malaysia, Sabah dan Sarawak, Sabah in particular, people in Sabah, you say they are mature, they are this, I agree, but they also have this semangat kekitaan. We are Sabahan. Okay, now ini berbalik kepada Malaysia Agreement. Okay, Malaysia Agreement adalah satu yang dia adalah satu titik yang bersejarah bagi orang Sabah dan Sarawak, especially Sabah. Let's focus on Sabah. Tetapi pada masa yang sama dia juga telah menjadi satu titik hitam di dalam sejarah orang-orang Sabah apabila telah berlakunya satu amendment some amendments were made, dan daripada Sabah dan Sarawak dianggap sebagai you have a equal status kind of thing, partnership with Semenanjung. They are just another state. So Tun Mahathir, as he came in, he promised that Pakatan promised that they will give them the partnership status back. Basically they will undo, mereka akan berikan balik, benarkan balik Sarawak dan Sabah untuk tidak lagi dipanggil satu negeri, malah mereka equal partner. Jadi soalan saya, adakah pada masa dulu apabila equal partnership status itu dicabul dari Sabah dan Sarawak katakan itu adalah satu penganiayaan, itu adalah satu benda yang salah, itu dulu. Sekarang sudah berdekad-dekad berlalu, jadi sekarang tu nak berikan balik equal partnership itu. Persoalan saya, Pakatan kata bahawa ini adalah Malaysia baru. Malaysia baru adalah sepatutnya satu penyatuan, ke arah penyatuan bangsa, ke arah satu Malaysia. Okay? Tetapi bukankah ini going backwards, iaitu nak Sabah dan Sarawak tidak lagi ingin dipanggil sebagai satu negeri, malah mereka nak equal partnership status and all that. Isn't that another way Sabah and Sarawak is alienating itself from the federal? What is your take?
I think importantly, one must take into very serious account, all right, on the actual formation of Malaysia. All right. You see, there's been this misconception by a lot of people. When I say a lot of people here, means I am referring to in West Malaysia, Semenanjung. All right. The very formation of Malaysia basically was, put aside Singapore, who was obviously out in 1965. All right. But you're looking at Malaya, and you're looking at Sarawak and Sabah. Okay. It is because of the combination of Sabah, Sarawak and Malaya that was the birth of Malaysia. All right, that is undisputable. Okay, now when we talk about independence, for that matter, all right, Malaysia never got its independence. The only component here that got its independence was Malaya. That was on the 31st of August 1957. Okay, but if you are talking about Malaysia as an independent country, such a thing never took place. All right, it is because of that Malaysia Agreement in 1963. All right, it brought these three people together. All right, and a new country, all right, was announced, and that country is Malaysia. Okay, now when you are talking about nak balik ke belakang, okay, actually you tak payah balik ke belakang, because dari dulu, from before, that was basically the agreement, and that was crafted in stone. All right, that is the Malaysia Agreement 1963. Okay, so in as far as Sabah and Sarawak is concerned, I think it is proper, all right, that whatever rights that is inscribed in the Constitution, all right, should be given to Sabah and Sarawak. When I say given means it is something that has already been there, all right. It's just that there are a lot of people, politicians basically in the past, intentionally ignored the fact that it has always been there, all right. Now, let's go back to 2018, all right, the 14th general election, okay. Now, you had kebanyakan, if not kesemua, parti-parti politik di Malaysia, ya, baik daripada Semenanjung, baik daripada Sarawak, baik daripada Sabah, okay. Pakatan Harapan dengan Barisan Nasional. Hampir semua parti-parti yang bertanding di dalam PRU yang ke-14, okay, semua menggunakan dalam kempen mereka Malaysia Agreement 1963. Okay. Apa yang telah dijanjikan kepada Sabah dan Sarawak akan digembalikan.
And they went for it.
Yeah. Now, there is a difference. Akan digembalikan. Apa yang akan digembalikan? Padahal, perkara itu memang sudah ada dalam Federal Constitution. Okay, so there's no such thing as akan digembalikan.
Betul.
Yeah. It needs to be fulfilled. Itu yang penting. Okay, so jikalau dari dulu, waktu pilihan raya PRU ke-12 dan ke-13, jarang kamu boleh mendengar ahli-ahli politik daripada whichever political party itu akan menggunakan Malaysia Agreement 1963. Okay? Tetapi pada PRU yang ke-14, semua menggunakan MA63. Dan mereka tahu waktu itu that the importance of Malaysia Agreement, especially coming from Sabah and Sarawak, you are looking at 56 seats, parliamentary seats in Sabah and Sarawak, which basically makes up almost 1/3, all right, of the total 222 parliamentary seats in Parliament. Take away all the 56 away, even Pakatan Harapan will not be able to form the federal government. Don't talk about Barisan, all right. Now, the Malaysia Agreement basically is something very sacred to the people of Sabah and Sarawak. That is why even political parties like Warisan, for that matter, over there, all right, DAP, Sabah DAP, Sabah PKR, all right, have used this in their campaign until even to this very day, they are using it. Okay, now the question here is this: if the Malaysia Agreement 1963 is of no importance, they would not have taken this, because they are very, very well aware, all right, that it is something sacred to the people of Sabah and Sarawak. Okay, now the Malaysia Agreement basically, of course, has a huge number of contents, you know, like the 20 points in Sabah and the 18 points in Sarawak. Now, many of which, of course, is still under state control, like immigration, for that matter. Okay, the Sabah government basically has full authority on the immigration, meaning to say, if there is anyone from Semenanjung Malaysia, or for that matter even Sarawak, wanting to come to Sabah, and you have been blacklisted, you will be barred from entering, even going through the immigration counter. All right? But the very fact that Mahathir now has said, right, that MA63 is now an important element to him. Okay, I think it is important, right, in its political aspect, all right, because of the impending Sarawak state elections that's going to be very near, okay, and the fact that the people of Sabah now, all right, have looked at the current government over there as not capable or not able. All right, this is something which I think Dato' Sri Shafiq Abdul would be able to know best. All right, the MA63, whether it is going to be implemented, all right, to its fullest content in the federal constitution, or whether this is just another political ploy. Now, of course, recently the Minister of Law in the federal cabinet, all right, Dato' V.K. Liu, all right, had mentioned that Article 1C of the federal constitution, which relates to the Malaysia Agreement, all right, is going to be amended in Parliament. Okay. Now, of course, it brings the joy out of a lot of people in Sabah and Sarawak, all right, that finally the federal government is seriously looking into this. Okay. But it is also important to look at this agreement, all right, which is basically an international treaty. All right. Now, whether Parliament has the authority to amend is one thing. Okay. Now, VK Liu had also basically stated that he hopes to obtain the support, all right, of the opposition MPs, particularly those coming from Sabah and Sarawak, when this particular Article 1C is going to be amended. All right. Now, I would think that Sabah and Sarawak MPs will support. All right. They will support. All right, and they should support. All right, provided, all right, they are supporting something that is going to favor Sabah and Sarawak. Okay. Now, Sabah and Sarawak has been blessed, all right, with huge natural resources. Okay, and Sabah and Sarawak are actually rich. They are rich states. Okay. The unfortunate thing is some of the poorest people in the country comes from Sabah and Sarawak as well. Now, it sounds very ironic, and very far-fetched. All right, mention this to any foreigner, all right, and he'll probably be saying, you can't be, you must be joking. Your state is basically rich with natural resources, oil, gas, timber, and so forth. But how could that be? How could you have some of the poorest people in the country that comes from your state? But that's one thing I would like to ask you. Now, my social media basically has been quite, up over the last 10 years, all right? And the very fact that at times I post up things on the Malaysia Agreement, a lot of people basically who responds to this posting of mine basically are from West Malaysia, okay? And there are many. All right, filter out those that is, you probably don't even want to look at it, all right, but filtering the ones that is intellectual in nature, all right, matured in nature, all right. Some of them basically are saying that the population of Semenanjung Malaysia is much larger than Sabah and Sarawak, so why should Sabah and Sarawak get, 20% oil royalty, all right. Now, to me, that is a totally an uneducated way of putting forward, all right, a statement simply because they are not in any way aware on the contributions of Sabah and Sarawak to Peninsular Malaysia. Yeah. There has been a lot of friends of mine here in Peninsula. All right, when I've asked them in the past, have you been to Sabah? They say, yeah, I've been to Kuching.
That's not the only perspective. When I threw the question to you about Malaysia Agreement, it is my job to throw the question to you because I want to trigger an answer for you. In reality, my position is that the abidance by the Malaysia Agreement is necessary.
Yes.
But one more perspective is the contribution of Sabah and Sarawak in terms of the formation of Malaysia. That is what counts at the end of the day. It can be renegotiated, it can be but it counts.
Right.
Okay, we are running out of time. We have probably got a minute or so to wrap it up. So jadi saya akan bertanyakan beberapa soalan ringkas. All I want is we just quick answers. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Okay. Barisan Nasional GE15 menang. Yes, no.
I would reserve that comment to the people of this country.
Okay. Intuitively?
I would basically say that unless and until they have some more capable people, probably they may be able to create some kind of impact in the 15G.
Okay. Tun Mahathir kekal sebagai Perdana Menteri sehingga ke pilihan raya umum ke-15. Yes, no?
Definitely.
Sebab? Sorry.
Well, I would think that there is no one who is capable enough.
Okay. Bagi saya will be stability of from an Islamic perspective. Kalau kita lihat Semenanjung, okay, Sabah, Sarawak, kalau kita lihat Sabah Sarawak, especially most defection berlaku di belah Sabah Sarawak. So adakah yes no, adakah salah kalau saya kata BN practically is non-existent in Sabah and Sarawak? Okey, maknanya ini sudah jadi satu masalah yang besar sekiranya BN wants to make a comeback, melainkan parti-parti ataupun defector ini sanggup balik kepada BN. Yes, am I right?
I would think that they chose a path.
Yeah.
All right, and if that is the path that they have taken, then they will have to deal with that.
Dan sekiranya masalah Sabah Sarawak tidak boleh diselesaikan, maknanya BN ataupun komponen-komponen parti di dalam BN tidak boleh menjurus kepada satu coalition baru di mana mereka boleh attract bilangan yang cukup dari Sabah dan Sarawak. We could and dengan kemarahan orang terhadap Pakatan Harapan, we could be looking at a very very critical election in GE15. Walaupun orang hendak, let's say contoh, I don't believe it. I don't believe it that we are at a level where people want back BN. I don't believe it. But katakan now is G15 and people want back BN. But even if people want back BN, things will still be critical because of BN's loose grip on Sabah and Sarawak. Betul?
Yep. I would think that if Warisan and Pakatan Harapan in Sabah do not fulfill what it had promised to the people of Sabah, Sabahans basically will change its government for the 5th time.
But Shafi'i is in a comfort zone. I mean, in a certain way. In a certain way, he may lose, but Pakatan itself is in a comfort zone because at the end of the day, it all boils down to who is our competitor. Well, it's not going to be BN because BN has a loose grip. So that's how Pakatan is looking at it. Okay. So final short answer. What do you think BN should do about it if BN is serious in making a comeback? In any version, if it's BN or if it's a modified BN, whatever. What do you think BN should do?
Well, if at all they are able to reposition, reignite, rejuvenate their position, all right, then they could probably come back in Sabah, all right. There again, all right, it will all depend on how badly Pakatan and Warisan performs over the next 4.5 years.
Okay. Ya, saudara, saudari sekalian, this has been our discussion today. Saya ucapkan terima kasih. Saya minta maaf sebab program ini kita buat pertama kali as a dual mixed language, English dengan Malay. Dan saya nak ucapkan terima kasih kepada saudara Ronnie Klassen, a great man, a very well seasoned strategist on issues related to Sabah dan Sarawak. Ya, sekian. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Ronnie Klassen.
Thank you very much for having me.
It was a very good session.
Same here. Thank you very much.
Sekian. Terima kasih.